This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
From the very beginning, I realized in order to make it very simple, it has to be a dedicated device. So Sociavi is a dedicated device, and I put a lot of emphasis in the 4 factors of this device. And it also has evolved through the years, but it has to be a device that doesn't resemble a computer. It really resembles a picture frame, and there's no username, no password, and it's a dedicated, secure device.
This is the Heart of Hospice podcast with Helen Bauer. Sociavi founder Paula Muller is talking with me today about Sociavi and its specialized programs for people with memory care needs. Whether you're a family caregiver or an end-of-life professional, the Heart of Hospice is here to enhance your hospice experience by connecting you with information you can use about end-of-life care.
Today's episode is sponsored by Odonata Care. Odonata's motto is, "Care is treatment." They have a mission to transform the end-of-life experience for the patient and caregivers through education and support. Odonata Care is revolutionizing the hospice experience with their booklet, The Care Plan, A Path to Comfort for the Hospice Patient, along with 50 free YouTube videos that teach the basics of bedside care. Visit thecareplan.net for more information. Now, here's today's episode.
Paula Muller, my guest today, is the founder of Sociavi. She's got a lifelong passion for technology, which sounds like it wouldn't really fit in, wouldn't dovetail with who we are at the Heart of Hospice podcast. But she is an advocate for technology applied to healthcare. She is dementia care certified, as well as certified in Alzheimer's disease and dementia care training, and she is a certified dementia practitioner. She's a support group facilitator for the Alzheimer's Association, and she also volunteers as a bilingual community educator. The concept of Sociavi evolved from her professional background in technology, as well as her strong commitment to the relationships and connections inside her own family. And she's going to share this with you on the podcast during her interview, but Sociavi is a Latin word. It means share and unite. It speaks a special meaning to the mission of Sociavi. So here's my conversation with Paula Muller of Sociavi. Paula, it's great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Helen. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And I'm so happy we connected, and I'm so honored that you invited me to participate in your podcast.
So today is a special day, a celebration that you are having with your husband, because your husband is Swiss, right?
That's correct.
Tell me about the celebration you guys are going to be participating in this weekend.
So August 1st is Independence Day in Switzerland. So the Swiss in New York, New Jersey gather every year close to August 1st. And today, my husband and I, we are in New York City because we're going to go later on to a celebration where we will have Swiss food, Swiss music, and of course, cheese and chocolate.
Cheese, of course. If you have a Swiss celebration and you don't have chocolate, I don't think you're doing it right.
No, that is correct.
So let's jump in to your work that you're doing. So meaningful with Sociavi. Tell me the catalyst for Sociavi. How did you get started?
So the situation was looking to my own family, looking to my own experience. Like many families, I emigrated. I'm originally from Chile, so my parents are still living there. My grandmother was there as well. But then the children and grandchildren are all over. I have some family in Brazil. I'm here in the US. My husband is Swiss, so his parents are in Switzerland. So families are distributed. So thinking about my own family, and my parents are aging, and we all are very worried about their well-being, how they are doing. But really what struck the final core was one of my cousins in Brazil. She was posting on Facebook. We're all interconnected with social media, so she was posting in Facebook this very important event in her life. I think it was a wedding or something like that. Please show this photo to grandma. So I said, of course, grandma doesn't have Facebook account, doesn't have a computer. Most likely, like many families in South America, she only have a cord phone, not even a smartphone.
Right.
So how grandma is going to be able to see and participate in the connections, in the events of her family when she's not connected like the rest of us? So that was really the point that I said, I have to change that. I have to do something to bridge that generational gap, because what happened is that older adults that do not use technology are getting lonely and isolated, and they feel sometimes that they're invisible because they don't participate in the communication, in the engagement, in the relationship that all of us are having. So that was really the realization that started this journey of building Sociavi.
So you have a heavy tech background, right? You came from a technology career, and you have applied this to healthcare. You are dementia care certified, right?
Yes.
And so Sociavi has a heavy emphasis on activities for adults with cognitive decline. Tell me how Sociavi supports people with cognitive decline.
So in many ways, the features of Sociavi have evolved in order to support persons with memory, with cognitive decline. So for example, one of the features is that we're always showing on the top of the screen the date and time and the weather. They always want to have this reassurance what day it is, what time it is. So it's front and center all the time for them. Also, we provide the capabilities of adding reminders and alerts. So if a doctor's appointment, a medication reminder, we call it health and wellness reminders, exercise, or an activity that they may need, or even the reminder that a family member is going to visit them. So those reminders are constant in front of them. So that helps them also go about and stay as independent as possible. I mean, just this little trigger is enough for them to take the next step and go ahead with their medication or exercises or whatever is important for them. Other thing that we incorporate are the pictures that are always present for them. Let me give you a very beautiful example. A husband supporting his wife with early onset dementia. He was using Sociavi, taking pictures of everyone that was visiting them. So, and sending it to Sociavi. So the next day, when she may have forgotten who was with them the day before, she was seeing the picture. So she was being constantly reassured that people are not leaving her alone and isolated, that people are visiting, are coming, and it was the opportunity to engage again and reminisce. And then we have the brain and fitness modules that I created, especially considering activities that are engaging, stimulating, and frustration-free. That was very, very important to me to add that other component to Sociavi. Simplicity is the key here. That allows people with cognitive decline to be able to use the device.
Right. My mom, like you're saying, she's one of those older adults who does not own a computer. She, up until a few months ago, had only a landline with a cord. She owns a cell phone, but she doesn't keep it charged. And if she goes out, she doesn't take it with her. So it's useless. But she has had a cognitive decline, memory decline over the last, I would say, 8 to 10 months that seems to be gathering steam. And one of the major things that she has trouble with is remembering what day it is, because she doesn't go to work every day. So weekdays and weekend days are all the same to her. Right? Unless she has a standing appointment with something. And she does. She goes to exercise in the fitness center 3 days a week. So those appointments really help. But she has trouble keeping up with what time it is and what day of the week it is, because she doesn't go anywhere and she doesn't set an alarm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's disorienting. So I can see how having that feature of Sociavi is really important. Tell me more about the brain fitness programs and how older adults, people with cognitive decline, can use the fitness program, because there are a lot of different aspects to that.
Yes. So basically, the motivation was to create something, as I was saying before, that is very simple for them, but also stimulating and frustration-free, like I said. But the idea was really to help them engage with the person next to them, because I learned that it's very difficult in some occasions as the disease progresses to have a conversation with someone with cognitive decline. You cannot talk about the future or the past. Memory is difficult. So the idea of those activities is that the two persons that are either another family member or an activity professional or even a grandchild. So both of them are seeing something, the same thing. And let me just give you an example. The simplest activity that we have, we call Reveal by Touch. And in that activity, you start with a white screen. And as the person, the older adult, moves the finger on the surface of the screen, the image underneath start revealing. So as the colors are happening, they can start talking about what they are discovering together, and an image start revealing, and it may be the image of an animal or something that they remember, and that is sparkle moments, and it's an opportunity of conversation. Other activity, for example, is matching numbers, and as they match the correct number, an image appears. It could be fruits, trees. It could be also, we have celebrities from their time. So they may be discovering Marilyn Monroe or Frank Sinatra or even Martin Luther King Jr. And one of those images is going to spark the conversation. They are going to remember as they recognize that person. And again, it's the opportunity of engagement. And after an hour, I've been very blessed attending sessions where older adults are using the activity. After an hour or so, they are so engaged, they are so happy because they fulfill a task, and they are tired as well. So they are going to sleep very well that day because they had a very good mental workout.
But they feel like they've accomplished something.
Absolutely. They really feel that they have accomplished something, that it wasn't first. I mean, another example, one activity director told me, we didn't know this resident was able to read. And one of the activities that you match the numbers, you start discovering letters that is going to be a particular sentence, and they can read it. And she was very surprised that they discovered that this resident in this community was still very good at reading and understanding and even sort of engaging on those activities.
Let's talk about Sociavi itself. So you're talking about having a user for it. Is it a website or is it an actual device?
Yes, thank you for asking. From the very beginning, I realized in order to make it very simple, it has to be a dedicated device. So Sociavi, on one aspect, what the older adult receives is a dedicated device. And I put a lot of emphasis in the form factors of this device. And it also has evolved through the years, but it has to be a device that doesn't resemble a computer. It really resembles a picture frame. And there's no username, no password, and it's a dedicated, secure device. So they are not going to be able to use it for web browsing or anything else but the capabilities of Sociavi. So there's no app to choose from. Everything is self-contained and very simple. I had to pay attention to 4 main components when designing a product for older adults. One of them is vision. So this device is extremely large. It's 13 inches screen, so it's as large as a large laptop. The second thing is hearing. Older adults, even with hearing aids, it's so prevalent, hearing loss in older adults. So we added external speakers that we have modified in order to make it extremely loud. So this device, for you and I, it could be just too loud, but it's necessary for older adults. The next thing is about dexterity. We know older adults have problems with all these capabilities that our iPods or a smartphone has, like zoom, pinch, scroll, and all of that. So all of those capabilities are not used. We only respond to touch because the buttons are very large, because touch accuracy that sometimes is required for our iPads or other smartphone is not something that they can use. It's very cumbersome for them. And the last thing is cognition. So every screen is very simple, very clear, not confusing. So very simple activities is only one activity at a time on the screen. So it had to be this very thought through product in order that it was able to achieve the simplicity and ease of use for older adults. And also in my experience, it doesn't have to resemble a computer, because I realized that when you start talking about computer, the level of anxiety of some older adults, a computer, I have to learn, I have to take notes, and they take copious notes, but we know a computer, all of a sudden the operating system changed and all the icons are all over the place, the things don't work the same way and they get lost. So that's what I thought. I had to create this product that will have only these capabilities, and it allows also to have a secure and closed private encrypted network. So the families are only connected through this tight private network that I provide through the service. And they are not going to get spam. They are not going to get calls from strangers. And then on the other hand, the families are the ones that install an app in their smartphone. So that's how I'm bridging the gap. The older adult gets this picture frame that they love because they have the pictures of the family and grandchildren. And on the other hand, the families from the app are the ones that, no matter where they are in the world, can be in touch with their loved ones. So that was the concept. Thank you for asking.
I think the simplicity is the key.
Yeah.
It's completely the key, because let's face it, I have a smartphone, an iPad, and a laptop computer. And there are some days I'm like, this is too much. I have too many emails. There's so many apps. I can't keep track. It's frustrating. And when it doesn't work, really what you want to do is take a hammer and smack something.
Yes.
It's really intimidating, I think, for older adults. When my mom talks about, so she's 90, when she and I talk about my podcast, she wants to know where she can watch it. And I try to explain to her, well, it's only something you listen to. She doesn't get that. She says, how do I listen to it? Well, you have to listen to it on a smartphone.
Right.
She doesn't know how to do any of that. So she would like to be engaged in those things, but she really just can't manage the technology. Even if we gave it to her, I'm with you. Having a device that is more of a picture frame than anything else is so much more user-friendly for somebody like that who's intimidated by technology.
This episode is sponsored by Odonata Care. Odonata Care founders Nancy Hireman and Brenda Kazire have crafted a 32-page booklet called The Care Plan, A Path to Comfort for the Hospice Patient. Here's what certified hospice and palliative care nurse Helen Bauer says about the Odonata Care booklet.
As an end-of-life educator and advocate, I'm always on the lookout for great resources to share with caregivers and anyone dealing with a serious illness. The care plan from Odonata Care has features that users can access anytime they need it. There's information about the symptoms we commonly manage at end of life, like pain, anxiety, shortness of breath, and secretions. Caregivers can use the care plan's tracking forms for medications and write down specific instructions for their loved ones. There's even a section on how to use meds safely and appropriately. The care plan from Odonata Care is the perfect bedside resource for caregivers.
You can purchase copies of the care plan for yourself or your hospice agency at thecareplan.net. Also, watch for their new Spanish version coming soon to their online store. Now, back to today's episode.
Paula, let's double back on the app, the interaction of the family and how they can use the app. What are the different components and how do they get the pictures in and all the things that are sharing and being communicated?
Yes. So the app, the families install like any other app in their smartphone, either Android or iOS, and they have the capabilities of sending pictures that are going to appear immediately on the screen. So if you are in a graduation, in a wedding, you can snap pictures and they are going to be sent immediately to the device. They can also record a video, we call it the family video, that will appear on the screen immediately. But also the family members can set reminders and alerts. So if the son or the daughter wants to have medication reminders for mom or dad, exercise reminder or doctor's appointment or anything, that they can schedule that directly from the app. Also, the family members can initiate and receive what we call video visit, which is the equivalent of a video call, a video visit, a live video visit directly from their smartphone, and we have configured it in the way that as soon as you press the video visit button on your smartphone, your face show up on the screen. The older adult doesn't have to touch anything. They will see you immediately. They start talking with you. You talk with them, and it's completely frustration free. We did it in that way because many of my family members, I really want that my mom don't get confused on what she has to touch in order to answer the video call. So we just leave it in that way that the family members can immediately appear on the screen. And in addition, the primary family members that can invite other family members to join this secure and close family and friend member network. So if this, for example, was for your mom and you are the primary person, the primary contact for your mom, you will be able to invite your children, your siblings, all of them to join this private and secure family and friend member network.
I love the security part of it. I really do, because I know with my mom, she's had issues with spam calls coming to her phone before, and she has trouble seeing the caller ID. You know, we've even programmed it to where we tell her, don't answer the phone unless you see our names come up. Well, she can't see that very well, or her doctor's office calls. And she doesn't want to miss a phone call because she's socially isolated.
Right.
So it gets into this, should she answer these or should she screen them? But we have her voicemail set up for her phone and she can't retrieve the messages. It's, you know, the technology has just gone beyond her. And considering the fact that the technology that we are using today to record will probably be obsolete in a year.
Yeah.
You know, my mom can't keep up with all that. It's just too much for her as an older adult. So the person who's the administrator, the family member who's going through the app, they can put reminders into the Sociavi device.
Yes.
That is so convenient. So if mom's supposed to have meds 3 times a day, or you want her to take a walk around the yard, you just put those reminders in and it shows up on the screen.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Paula, is there an audible alarm or signal that goes off that the person hears as well?
Yeah. So at the time so you set the alarm for, let's say, 3 p.m. for her walk. At 3 p.m., the screen is going to start flashing, making a noise, and then she will react. We have actually different levels of alert depending on the level of how the older adult can respond. So some of them are just a noise and a flashing, and then it disappears on its own. Other one, we really want the older adult to acknowledge. So it's going to stay on the screen until the older adult press an OK button.
Uh-huh.
And then we have another level of alert that you can set how long do you want that it flashes on the screen. So it may be that you want, let's say, for the next 15 minutes, because mom may not be in front of the screen at that time. So for the next 20 minutes or so, you want that the screen stay there. But you may think that mom is not going to be able to press the OK button to close the alarm, so it's going to disappear on its own. And we continue expanding with the level of alerts, depending on the level of responsiveness from the older adult.
So if I, as so say I'm the family member and I set it up, if there's an alert that comes on for, say, a medication, and we have it set to where the adult user has to actually push the button to acknowledge, do I, as the family member, get a notice that it was completed or it was acknowledged and they pushed the button?
Absolutely. So we do have all of those reports. So you will see on the app that at what time your mom pressed the OK button and if she presses it or not. So you will get the alarm if she did it or not.
Oh, I really like that. I really like that idea, because I know that's a huge issue, remembering activities of daily living and just, you know, household tasks and things that they need to do. What about internet? Because Sociavi obviously uses internet. Does it come with its own internet device, or are people accessing Wi-Fi to run it?
Yes. So basically, the only things that the person needs in the home is power and internet. And internet can be in the form of a Wi-Fi, or it can be a direct cable to the internet. So it has the capabilities of having direct connection to the cable. But yes, those are the two things that are required. And if you allow me, the setup is also very, very simple. We also put a lot of attention to simplicity in that area, that basically when you get the device, probably family member or someone in the community where the older adult lives, we take it out of the box, connect the device to the power outlet. The very first time it's going to show the list of available Wi-Fi. You select the Wi-Fi, enter the password, and you're ready. That's all what you need. It doesn't even have you don't have to push a power button. As soon as you connect it to the power outlet, the device come up immediately.
So there's no login, no password.
No login, no password. And then you set up the Wi-Fi only once. It's going to remember afterwards.
Which is great, because logins and passwords, I'm sorry, I have so many passwords. I think, like most people who use at least one form of technology, I have so many passwords, I can't remember all of them.
No, neither I.
No, I actually have an app for saving my passwords. So you remove that frustration as well. Yeah, the simplicity is key. Let me ask you something a little bit personal. Do your parents have a device?
Yes.
And how do they interact with it?
So very much the same thing, seeing the pictures, having the video call. They can also initiate a video call from the screen as well, because all the family members, an icon, the picture of the family member is going to be on the screen as well. So if they touch my picture, my phone starts ringing. And the same thing is happening with my in-laws in Switzerland. Very much connected with them. In that way, I see in the frustration of my father-in-law, for example, a very remarkable, brilliant gentleman. But then now at his 90s, technology, the computer is just too cumbersome for him to use. So Sociavi is just in the living room for them, and the pictures show up, and then we just drop by, having a video visit with them while they're watching television in the living room, and they immediately stand up and we start chatting. And actually, my mother-in-law many times said, "Thank you for the visit. It's not thank you for the call." She really mentioned that is for seeing us on the big screen, like we are just dropping by.
So it doesn't just feel like a phone call. It feels like an in-person visit.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I mean, just to share with you something that made me so happy. My husband was dropping by one day, and his mom was telling, Paul is my brother-in-law. He was just here an hour ago. My husband thought Paul, his brother, was physically there because he's often stopped by. And no, he was dropping off on the Sociavi, and he said he was here a few hours ago.
Yeah, that was their visit. It was like he was actually there. That's too funny.
Yeah.
But how nice that is that just a video call, video chat made your mom feel like she'd had in-person connection with somebody.
Yes.
And isn't that the whole purpose of having Sociavi and that connection to your family and that circle of secure friends? That is awesome. So if somebody wants to get started with Sociavi, purchase a device, how do they do that?
So basically, they go to the website, sociavi.com, and they make the purchase of the device. There is also it's a purchase of the device and a monthly subscription that has all the capabilities, all the upgrade, all the support, unlimited number of family members. And they have to fill a small questionnaire just to know the shipping address, and then we configure the device and we ship it to wherever the location they want, that either directly to the assisted living community or memory care where the older adult, or at home, or we ship it to the family members and then they bring it to wherever the older adult lives. But it's just very simple as well.
Paula, I wonder, if you have somebody who has cognitive decline enough to where they're no longer verbal, are there ways that they can interact with another user who's helping them, next to them? Are there ways that someone who's nonverbal can interact with the Sociavi device?
Thank you very much for bringing that. This is yet another capability that we incorporated in Sociavi directly because of that. We added what we call the communication board. And that capability, it shows on the screen a series of icons where the person can point and express what they want, what they need, how they feel. So if they are nonverbal and are thirsty or are sad, they have an icon that they can point, click, and then it will show to the person next to them how they are feeling, if they need something, if they want to go to sleep. So we have very big icons with the most relevant activities that they will need to express or how they feel or what they want. Yes, thank you for asking about that capability.
Very good. I like that. So tell my listeners how to connect with Sociavi, how to get their order started. How can they find you?
Thank you. So they can find me at www.sociavi.com. And Sociavi, I chose that name for the company because it's a Latin word that means share and unite. And that really it was the mission of the company, that I wanted that older adults stay connected, share moments, be united with their families in the simplest way, and no matter where they are in the world. So that was the idea of Sociavi.
The pandemic has taught us that loss of connection, that loss of personal interaction took a great toll, a horrible toll on our older adults, really on all of us, but on our older adults. So I love the work that Sociavi is doing.
Thank you.
What's one thing we haven't talked about today that you would like people to know about Sociavi?
So let me tell you the story about a gentleman because he really represents what Sociavi is all about. Rick, he's an 87-year-old gentleman of the Midwest, and he lost his wife of over 50, probably close to 60 years, right before COVID. So he has been experiencing loneliness and isolation, having lost his partner of so many years. And like many older adults, his children are distributed all over the U.S. He has only one daughter that lives in the same town, but she also has her responsibilities with work and with family, so she cannot be living with him. He's living alone. So he was diagnosed also with a cognitive decline not too long ago. So at the end, living alone, he was having a very sedentary, not very active life. He wasn't very because of the memory issues. He was not being very compliant with his medicine. So one of his son set up Sociavi for him, and basically the family start having the medication reminders. So he started walking more because he was not forgetting. So he has 3 reminders, daily reminders of doing his walk. He has 2 daily reminders about his medicine. So now after a couple of weeks of Sociavi, he's losing weight, he's walking more, he's complying with his medication, and something else is he's being active and engaged with his family. I mean, before he was not able to see, phone calls were possible, but seeing visually, video visit with his family were very rare. Only the times when the children were able to visit him, sometimes even just once a year because they are so far away. And the grandchildren, even less. So now he's having these visual visits with the family, more active, being more compliant. And the bottom line is that he's having a happier and healthier life. And that's what Sociavi offers. That's the mission that we want to achieve, that we are older adults and more engaged, happier, connected with their family, and also keeping them mentally stimulated with the brain fitness. So that's the message that I want that the people, the audience, remember the story of Rich.
Awesome. That's quality of life. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Paula, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. So wonderful to share the work that Sociavi is doing.
Thank you so much, Helen. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so very much.
I thought that I was long distance caregiving for my mom, who lives an hour and a half from me. But now to hear Paula's story about having family in Chile, Brazil, and Switzerland, and scattered all over the U.S., wow. How do you stay connected with people scattered all over like that internationally and so many miles apart? She wanted to be able to use the technology, which is her skill set, right, to connect her family with elderly members of her family. Sharing photos, sharing videos, making them feel like they're engaged in those life milestones that are so important. I love it that was her first thought when they said, would somebody please share this with Grandma so she can see what's going on? That's awesome. So Sociavi is a dedicated device. She hesitates to use the word tablet. She wants it more to be like a picture frame, is the way she talks about it. It's not really a computer because of the intimidation factor. It's secure. It's got a private protected network, and it's self-contained. So there's not a lot of other apps. You can't do your grocery shopping on it, order your curbside groceries. There were 4 things she talked about that are really key to the device and how it functions. One thing is it's got a large 13-inch screen, so that's visibility, right? Because we know that a lot of our older adults, especially as they have cognitive decline, have trouble with vision. And then there are modified speakers, so it helps with the audio. Dexterity is the third aspect that they paid attention to. The buttons are large and easy to use. And we know folks with cognitive decline have difficulty with their dexterity. And it eliminates all these little click here, what did she say? Pinch and zoom, all of that is out the window. So dexterity is really addressed. And then simplicity. The overall device, every screen is simple, it's clear. So they really paid attention to the features that would enhance the use for someone with cognitive decline. One of the features that I really feel like is super important is those reminders. So that helps with memory if they need help with things like medications, appointments, or even just something like, here's the weather in your area, here's today's date, here's what day of the week it is, and here's what time it is. I have seen that in my own mom and heard that from other people that are housebound quite a bit. They can't keep track of what day of the week it is even because they don't get up and go to work. They don't set an alarm to get up at a regular time. It's very time disorienting to live like that. The brain fitness programs, very unique and very simple, so that anyone with cognitive decline can sit next to another user to help facilitate. And it doesn't take a lot, but there are programs and ways they can interact, not just with the device, but with the person sitting next to them. And of course, the video chat, the video calls. If you guys have listened to my podcast before, you've heard me talk about my mom and how much she enjoys having video chats. So she's got grandchildren, and now she has great-grandchildren that she has seen over video chats, which was amazing during the pandemic because otherwise it would have been quite a while before she was ever able to meet those babies when they were born. So you can connect with Sociavi. Look into purchasing a device for yourself and somebody that you care about and want to stay connected with at sociavi.com. And the way it's spelled is SOCIAVI.com. Be sure to catch the next episode of the Heart of Hospice podcast. You can find more episodes on theheartofhospice.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can connect with the Heart of Hospice on Facebook and Instagram and send your questions or comments to me by email at helen@theheartofhospice.com. And remember, no matter who you are or where you are in your hospice journey, you are the heart of hospice.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.